Morning. This is probably the only time of the year that I would advise parents to feed them donuts. Hanukkah, we celebrate oil, so oil permeates everything. That's the essence of the thing. When you want to really grab a child's attention, and when you succumb to the desire to feed them donuts, you're telling them that in their child's world, there is something sweet and something that has the depth of shemen. Hamefafeh b'chol davar. It permeates everything. The donut is something that expresses the idea that shem and oil, wisdom, can even reach a child in his world, because it reaches everywhere. Welcome. Shmuel Madar, good to see you. The same candle, the same oil that it used to bring light on a menorah is the one that we feed our children donuts while they watch it, so they could see what is worthy of celebrating. What a beautiful religion we have in terms of the message behind every single symbol is good. Here the idea is that you could unify the world of the donut, the dough that drives so many people. It even means money. And reach even there with oil. What you've done is join two worlds, the nigla, the exoteric, not the exoskeletal, but the exoteric, which means things that you can understand. Do this, don't do that. Even reasons behind things, but not the depth and the light necessarily. So to bridge those worlds, you have oil. Oil takes the light into the most basic, dark, distant place and reaches there with the meaning that is conveyed through it, which is the shemen. So later on, when your kid learns about the meaning of washing his hands before meals, etc., all of the most basic part of it, all the details, become messages and lessons. Welcome. For the child. So that all the way from the donut years, which I would say is about till about maybe they had that I was at Baruch Hashem, my grandson's birthday party, and they put a cake in front of him. And this is the fashion these days. You let your kid gluttonize before they know what they're doing. To them, it's just Play-Doh. It just tastes good. So the tasting good is the point here, that the nigla, the revealed aspects, should reflect the depth that is in them. So you should see the wisdom in everything. You should be lit, even in the physical activities. And in fact, that's what distinguishes, in this beautiful mimer that I have, distinguishes the two types of light that was lit in two historical times of humanity, which one happened in the time of King Solomon, the zenith of the Jewish people, who are likened to the moon at the 15th generation. King Solomon, Shlomo HaMelech, ruled in such a way that he was lit in all the world. The Queen of Sheba and her wealth were tributes to King Solomon's wisdom that he shared with the world. So he was a light into the world, and it reached everywhere, and that brought all what could be holy and elevated within that culture that it attracted as physical wealth to King Solomon. So you have a lot of donut effect here, where you could see meaning in the world where wisdom prevails and wealth is directed for common purpose. Shlomo HaMelech had 1,000 wives because he diplomatically, through love, he was the ultimate hippie in a way, if you could say that about him. He had 1,000 wives. Why? Because to him it was worthwhile to preach love and unity in amongst all humanity. So he married someone from every country of the world, the princesses, and to join purpose. It was a grand experiment because it wasn't allowed. So he did have a transformative element, King Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, in a great extent. We say that later on in history, in the times of Hanukkah, there is a light that then shone that will culminate in a second redemption. King Solomon was a type of redeemer. The promised descendant of King Shlomo HaMelech from the Davidic dynasty will be the Messiah, whose job is to bring light to even the place called the Talmudai, reaching the legs, the lowest part of even the rebels in the street, the ones who are up latest at night and you have to wait for them to come home to light the menorah. The Talmudai, the same letters as Meredes, the rebel. So there, you're going to have a shining that's going to not just compel the good within them to come to Jerusalem and be a tribute to this noble purpose of King Shlomo to bring sovereignty to the entire planet. It will be not something that just takes the good and draws it towards itself, but something that reaches to, that speaks to the most distant, but not just to draw them or the good in them, but to transform what makes them distant. The things that are the darkest things in the world, that specifically there will represent the true power of unity that will be brought about through common experience of a divine awareness. So that's the donut, taking things all the way to the child's language. Even the rebel child is spoken to in this way and reached and lit. So that's why the significance of translating the Torah can be kosher if it was in Greek, and that's the culture that we were fighting against. It's so strange. But even there you could reach the common place where common wisdom in the world is reflective of a divine origin. Have a good morning.